Everybody, I'm Matthew Magne. I am currently running technical enablement at LaunchDarkly. Big thing that I push for is learn, practice, apply. This is just like a huge mantra. You've heard it in different ways, any of the different enablement books you've read, but you have to have some level of training. At some point they have to learn something. At some point they have to practice it to incorporate it and move it from that short term into the long term. And then at some point you have to measure and see if they're actually doing that in the field, right? And any enablement program, the only reason it wouldn't do all three is bandwidth. That's my experience, is that you always want to do this stuff. What happens is, hey, we got to do this thing before it's, I just got a request this morning. Yeah, we have to do this session before, everyone's gone for the holidays, and we're just going to do a session, but then there's no pre-work, then there's no practice, then there's no apply. So they forget most of it. It's not as effective. It doesn't make the change you want to see. The other one, more around lots of breaks, just make sure you give people chances to network, to process some of the knowledge that they're pulling into their brain. They probably had a rough night if they're on the sales team and had a good quarter. The third one there is kind of contradiction of that though, but it's basically have fun, not too much fun, but have some fun, especially for enablement people, because this is kind of like our Super Bowl. So when you're out there, just don't, you've done so much of the work before you get there. You are doing a lot during, when you're on the ground there, but don't forget to have a little fun there. Flip Classroom is making sure that sellers and sales engineers and CSMs, we do pitch offs. We do, live pitch offs with big prizes and things like that in the moment at RKO, which is great. A lot of excitement and energy around that. And then I put AI role plays because I do think it's a huge game changer. Like, we didn't have it. I haven't had it the last 4 years of, or say 6 years of SKOs and RKOs and CKOs, depending on where you are. I have not used it and had it, and now we have it, and it's such a great item to add to our arsenal. Now enter evolving into the world of AI role play and coaching, right? And this is just one example of like our AI configs product, and using it to kind of do role play, practice discovery, practice the pitch type of thing. So what's happening here is like that learn, practice, apply is being compressed, right? And they're happening more, it's kind of like this spinning wheel instead of just like, here's your learn phase, here's your practice phase, here's your apply phase. It's more of what you see here on the right there is a learning path where you've got kind of the learning pre-stuff. It's kind of learn, practice, apply, right? Here's the stuff that you want to learn about our new POV process, proof of value process. Here's the practice that we're going to give you. I want to hear your positioning, and I want to hear. Here's the application of that knowledge. Later, a month later, we're going to go back and upload a call of when you've done that. So this is just kind of that learn, practice, apply in a cert model. Now, what's happening with RKOs and SKOs is that that learning all this stuff, the learning and practicing at least can happen before they even get to SKO. And I think that's the big value impact that the AI role play gives you. Not only can you do kind of like practice it, upload it, giving the coaching feedback, which I've got really good feedback on from my team, but also they can just practice those discovery questions, practice those competitive, questions, and practice the new, we've got new value drivers, things like that coming up. This is an example of a huddle where I'm doing like what good looks like. I'm using now AI role play that's part of onboarding. It's part of pre-RKO, and then upload your version and then get AI coaching immediately. Then you've got the practice piece, which used to be kind of pre-SKO, or sorry, used to be happening at SKO. We're doing physical role plays and pitch offs and demo offs and things like that. So that's the stuff that I'm saying is happening basically and compressing into happening before it, making it non-negotiable, making sure that there's some practice and application of knowledge, because then you can kind of, before they even go in there, and I know it's hard to get the scoring right because Gen AI isn't, it's going to hallucinate sometimes. It's going to make things up and be confident about it. So you just got to be careful with it. But it's really valuable to have at least some level of indicator of how you're doing so that oh, wow, I crushed that. I'm good. I don't need to do it. Or, wow, I did worse than I thought. I should do more,